Today we're going to be demonstrating a tip seal replacement. This is a simple technique that would be used for both the IDP 35 and IDP 45 pumps. Tip seals should be replaced every 2 to 3 years depending on your application. From start to finish, this should take about 30 minutes. For simplicity, we're showing the pump disconnected from the vacuum system, and of course we've removed the power cord. We'll start by removing the front cowling using the 3 5mm cap head bolts. This model includes the VPI valve, which we'll remove by loosening the 3 4mm bolts attaching it to the outboard housing. A new O-ring is included in the tip seal kit, so remove and discard the existing O-ring. The solenoid that activates the VPI valve will need to be removed next. Be sure not to stretch or crimp the wire connecting the solenoid. If a gauge is present, disconnect the vacuum gauge cable. With the solenoid removed and the gauge disconnected, let's remove the outboard housing. First, let's loosen but not remove all 6 of the 5mm outboard housing bolts. Now let's take out the top 2 bolts completely and remove the shims. Repeat for the remaining 2 locations as shown. At each location, there may be 1, 2, or 3 shims. Be sure to keep each set of shims separate. With the 6 bolts and 3 shim sets removed, the outboard housing can be separated from the inboard housing. To remove the orbiting plate, first remove the central snap ring with snap ring pliers, and then remove the aluminum central cap. Remove the counterweight block plug from the top of the inboard housing. Then carefully insert a tool to block the rotation of the crankshaft. With the rotor blocked, use a 5mm Allen key to remove the central crankshaft bolt. Remove the orbiting plate by pulling it straight away from the crankshaft. Any torque applied to the orbiting plate at this stage will make disassembly difficult. At this point, we can remove and discard the main O-ring, since a replacement is also included in the tip seal kit. With the scrolls removed, let's proceed by removing the tip seal from the inboard housing. Use a soft plastic or wood tool to avoid damaging the housing. You can discard the worn tip seal after removal. Remove the 3 worn tip seals from the outboard housing. Remove the worn tip seals from both sides of the orbiting plate. With the tip seals removed, now is a good time to clean all the exposed surfaces of the scrolls with a little isopropyl alcohol and a lint-free cloth or a cotton swab, but be sure to wear appropriate PPE. For each scroll section, you'll need to install the tip seal and cut to size. Installing the new tip seal in the orbiting plate and the inboard housing, start at the center and work outwards, cutting the tip seal to leave 1/4 inch or 3 millimeter gap. Next, we'll proceed with installing the new tip seals in the outboard housing. The outboard housing has the tip seal locks for each segment near the outer edge, so you'll need to start there when installing the new tip seals. Lightly tap the tip seal when it meets the tip seal lock to make sure the tip seal stays in place. Now that the new tip seals have been installed, we'll reinstall the orbiting plate, then the outboard housing, the solenoid valve, and finally the external covers. The orbiting plate can only be installed with the scroll sets lined up as shown. It's important to make sure that the newly installed tip seals remain in place during this step. With the orbiting plate in place, push the Spieth nut into position and fasten using the central crankshaft bolt. The bolt will need a small amount of grease, included in the tip seal kit, on the threads and underneath the head of the bolt. As you tighten the bolt, the pump's crankshaft will begin to rotate until it hits the blocking tool. Since specifications are subject to change, it's important to verify the correct tightening torque in the latest revision of the IDP 35 and IDP 45 Preventative Maintenance Manual. Remove the crankshaft blocking tool and, using the central bolt, rotate the crankshaft until the orbiting plate sits in its lowest position, or bottom dead center. The crankshaft should only be rotated in the counterclockwise direction. Replace the O-ring, then install the aluminum central cap and the snap ring. Next, we'll reinstall the blanking plug, install the new main O-ring from the kit, and then we're ready to reinstall the outboard housing. Position the outboard housing so that the 3 orbiting cranks sit at their lowest position. With the housing held vertically, the cranks will naturally fall to the correct position. The 2 alignment pins on the housing ensure the proper orientation. Install the first shim set in the exact location it was removed from, then secure the shims in place by installing the bolts. Repeat for the remaining 2 locations as shown. Next, install the VPI solenoid valve. If a gauge is present, connect the vacuum gauge cable. Locate the small VPI valve O-ring in the kit and insert it into the bore in the outboard housing. Then replace the large VPI valve O-ring and reinstall the VPI valve itself. Finally, we'll reinstall the pump front cowling and secure with the 3 screws. If you want to learn more, or have any additional questions, or want to contact an Agilent representative, visit us at agilent.com.